Start me up.
That was for me. Full
Feel
command.
it when you do still.
Almost got in.
Heaven
the
there.
car left. Woo!
Welcome to Mourning the Morning.
Morning, the morning. My name is Shawn.
My name is Nick.
What's going on, people? What's go- Let me get in this frame. There we go.
You're in the frame.
No, you're. Yeah. There we go. What's going on, people? It's Monday.
It's
We're doing it
Monday.
big.
We're doing it small. We're doing it tiny. Oh, I should share it on my phone too.
Yeah.
Don't fall.
Whoa.
Don't
I got
fall.
you, buddy.
Don't.
I got you, buddy. I got you.
Oh, I like how my arm looks like that. Like if you get it in the right shadow, I look buff.
Boom.
But I'm not.
I could put some lines in here.
Could you do
Yeah.
some contouring
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
muscles?
yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Fake it till you make it, folks.
Fake it till you make it. You weren't really here for 20 minutes.
Yes.
No, you weren't.
Mm-hmm.
How?
I mean, how? Your dad let me in and we got to talking. I thought you knew we were here. We're talking very loudly.
You keep leaning on the table
don't
and it keeps
know.
making the camera shake.
Okay, I apologize. I shared. Have you shared?
I haven't shared yet.
We're on. We are on.
We're live and in charge, baby.
Yeah.
So we're talking about volume.
Oh my God. Every time, dude. Every time. Okay. What's happening out there, everybody? Aaron Phillips! What up, buddy? My man. Oh, Nick's got it shared?
Oh, Aaron Phillips. It has been so long.
Long
sir.
time, friend. Long time.
Aaron Phillips is like VIP. Like if we were ever to become if this was ever to go anywhere, and we were like, hey, we have a show going on.
No, it's when it goes somewhere.
When it goes somewhere, Aaron Phillips would get tickets.
Oh, bro.
He'd get two
Velvet
tickets.
ropes, my man.
Well, hold on.
Velvet ropes.
He'd get 2 tickets.
Well, not velvet. We'll start with the pole straps. Yeah.
Well, but
Build up.
this is what we'd have to do. We would have to do is we'd have to turn our backs to him. He'd have to be like, "Oh, guys, it's me, Aaron," and we'd be like, "Who? I'm sorry, what?" And
No
he'd be
offense, Aaron.
and he'd-
no offense.
We
buddy.
have it.
We have to do
an
it.
image.
We have to do it, buddy.
I wouldn't be able to do
Who
that.
is this guy?
Who? And then somebody has to lean in. Aaron!
Hey, buddy, yeah.
Goodness gracious.
What is going on out there? All right,
we're talking endings.
Endings. Inspired by the endings.
So I just watched with my family Endgame, Avengers Endgame yesterday. Mwah! Loved it.
Great stuff.
Great stuff.
Great stuff.
And it would just happen to be the Game of Thrones series finale yesterday. So I thought it might be good to talk about how we often get somewhat philosophical. We can talk about...
This is my philosophical thing.
Is it? Oh, speaking of this, I saw the trailer for Aladdin, which made me want to not see the movie at all.
Is Will Smith going to ruin my childhood? Is that what he's going to do?
And then I'm wondering
I
about
wanna
this
think
Gemini
that.
movie,
Gemini, I don't know.
that Gemini Man movie,
Gemini Man.
where he's like chasing himself.
Oh yeah, I do that.
Where
often.
like the guy from Bad Boys is chasing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
No.
That's
Is it a documentary? What are you talking about?
the movie.
That sounds...
It's old Will Smith chasing young Will Smith, and they're trying to kill each other.
Talk about low concept.
I mean, actually,
Hey, you want to play you and you?
the definition of high concept would be mass appeal. Did you know that?
Is that what it is?
It is.
Rather than the premise of what's being
Like, so
presented?
you would think like, oh, something is high concept. It's like
Okay.
a lofty principle of
Okay,
something or
right.
whatever. But in actuality, high
How does it
concept
appeal to the mass?
meaning like high, yeah, like
what
the masses
people know.
Meaning like the masses will respond to it.
Got it. Okay, interesting.
So a high concept movie is it's almost like a misnomer. Like it sounds like it should be something more
Sure.
lofty than it is.
Right.
When high concept is more like Rampage.
Right.
It's
ubiquitous everywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Whereas Jumanji, when it first came out, was like crazy, but now Jumanji is definitely high concept.
Right.
It's just
everyone knows.
everybody knows it.
Interesting. Some would argue that the ending of Marvel, that it isn't the ending, that this is just the beginning.
Well, yes,
which is
because they
crazy.
obviously have like this continuation going. I almost felt like, oh, good, this is over with.
We get a break,
Right.
man.
I felt like it's done.
Yeah.
Yay. And
Did you like old Cap? Spoiler alert.
Cap was pretty.
Spoiler alert,
we put
by the
spoilers on the thing.
Okay, did
there's
we?
spoilers
Fair
on the title. Even there says spoilers.
Okay.
So like, if you don't want spoilers, GTFO. You know what I mean? What's up, Dylan Chase?
What's going on, Dylan?
Dylan Harris.
JR's son.
Dylan Harris, JR's son. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Not
a chip off the old block.
He's not?
No, he's
good
his
for
old,
you,
he's his old
Dylan.
That's great.
No, I felt like, let's talk about Endgame first.
A little bit. Okay.
Okay, because that's the one that's been out most.
Okay.
Or should we talk about Game of Thrones first? Let's talk
doesn't
about
matter.
Endgame first. Endgame, I felt like it was great. The whole thing was great. There were things that I knew going into it that I was like, okay, cool, whatever. It would have been nice to be surprised, but at the same time, it's not that big a deal to me.
So we talked about this. Someone, again, we had an idea.
Yeah.
But someone literally right in our face spoiled Endgame for us. He's dead to us. We'll bring him back at some point.
Whenever we need a DP.
Yeah. So he spoiled it, and you made the proclamation that you read somewhere that actually knowing the ending of something makes it a far better viewing experience.
May enhance the story.
Okay.
Because of the main plot points that you already know. So like you know the symbolism of certain things earlier, to where it kind of like enhances what you're watching.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true. I do know that, like, since I did know a bunch of spoilers, I knew that Thor got fat. I knew that Tony Stark died.
I didn't know that. It was It was fun to see that.
Yeah. And it all made sense to me, too. But here's the thing that I think... So, in talking about, like, life, right? So, like, ending well. I want to talk about, like, ending well in life is always good. You know, we like good endings just in general. It's almost like if you know... If somebody were to tell you definitively on this journey of your life, which, you know, hopefully you enjoy and you like and you want to be good and all that kind of stuff. If somebody were to tell you at, you know, certain main plot points of your life that are like interesting or fun or good or like amazing, or even at the end of just like, you know, your ultimate goal. Like if somebody was to prophesy to me and say, I have seen your future, even if I thought it was bullshit, but they knew and I knew, they somehow convinced me, I've seen your future.
Right.
You are going to be on Jimmy Fallon's couch.
Okay.
As a featured guest. You know, like, that to me doesn't spoil the story of my life. To me, the journey there.
You'd almost work.
I'm like, how do I get there?
Okay. Right.
What am I? I know I don't get there by doing nothing.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, even my own person, I can't do nothing. Like, I don't think people can do nothing. You know what I mean? I think people want to do things. They want to keep going. So it's like, I would want to know, like, how do I get there? You know what I mean? I feel the same way. Because the thing is, every plot point to every story that's ever been told has been told. You know what I mean? It's the whole... Every story's been told already. It's just how we get there, like how those pieces, like it's like all the pieces are in a snow globe and you shake them up and like how they fall. It's like, oh, that's a new story, but it's like
it's the same story.
It's the same story, but it's like the different pieces and how they're put together and how they intersect and interlap and interweave and all that kind of stuff. So like that to me is more important than those big kind of tentpole surprises.
Okay.
Throughout a film, you know. When you expect for people to get together and they get together, it's not necessarily a surprise. You know what I mean? When people lose and the guy who, let's say Thor, who has this entire time been like, I am the strongest Avenger, I'm the strongest being in the universe, I have destroyed Ragnarok, and Thanos is the only thing that's ever beaten me. And then Thanos wins. And then the Viking who just enjoys beer, what's he gonna do? he's gonna go on a freaking bender and get fat. So it's kind of it makes sense.
But
right?
that wasn't the end of the story.
No, it wasn't. But what I'm
Doctor
saying,
Strange knew that, which makes him the strongest adventurer. Am I not?
Or he makes him the most well-informed Avenger.
He sure is, dude. He sure is.
I mean, Hulk's shriveled arm, that was nuts. That's crazy. That I didn't see. But I loved, though, which is an ancillary detail. Right? But those are the things that I'm looking for. Like, when the heroes are going to win.
Of course.
They're going to win. It's how they win.
It came at a cost.
And how they get there.
It came at a cost. It's funny you mentioned that. So the journey. Had I not known the ending, who dies in the end, Tony Stark. Someone spoiled it. I knew I had an idea, but then now watching it, you realize how much foreshadowing went into the entire film. I'm like, oh, there's a little subtle. I may have not noticed that.
Also,
subconsciously, I would have picked it up.
In the 5 years, Tony got what everybody else lost. You noticed that, right?
Yeah,
Tony got his family. He got kids. He's got all of that life on a farm that he's always wanted, right?
Ultimately, he wanted peace for himself,
and that's what he got within his own life. And then he sacrificed himself at the end. Yeah. Which, damn, dude, that dude sacrificed himself how many times already?
No, absolutely, absolutely. What's going on, Diane?
I knew that. Hey, Diane. I knew that Hulk snapped. I knew that. It didn't really ruin it for me because it kind of also one of those things that made sense, you know?
And when you knew it happened at 2 hours in the film, there was more to go.
Yeah. So I really liked the way that they did everything.
It was fun.
I thought it was a great ending.
It had a lot of feels, Nick. A lot of feels, my man.
I teared up, man. I cried, baby. I cried.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Oh, I was crying for sure, man. I love you 3000.
It was just that whole. It ain't over that.
I love you 3000.
I love you 3000.
I love you 3000.
So good.
So good.
Great watch. Good ending.
Yes.
To this tentpole franchise. This whole thing
that is now gonna keep going.
It's gonna keep going. Do you think people are gonna lose
a break?
Do you think there's gonna be any loss of interest now that this is over?
Not if they keep doing it well.
When you start picking out other characters.
Not if they keep doing it well the way that they have been. They know. Here's the thing. Marvel, I think, has done things well because they've listened to the audience. And they've heard and they understand what the audience... Not just what the audience is expecting and what the audience wants. Not like they're kowtowing to the audience or anything.
That brings me to my next question. Because the fans of GOT...
They're upset.
They are upset. And
so let's talk about the Game of Thrones ending.
Yes. Spoiler alert. I just like saying spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert!
What's going on, Mike?
Mike Hogan, back in the house. Woo! Yeah, right. I don't know why I went there.
I like it, man.
Game of Thrones. We're talking about the Game of Thrones ending.
Yep.
Listen, I liked it.
What's not to like? I don't understand.
I liked it.
What do people need? We talked about this last night because you'd read a little bit of the
What up, Gary Hawkins?
What's happening, Gary? Like that whole feel of people.
Let's talk about the first shot. The first shot is Tyrion walking through the ravaged Westeros.
Yeah.
Right? King's Landing.
Okay.
Ravaged.
Yeah.
That was rough.
People were already said about that.
I made the comment while we were watching it. Kimberly Nielis is watching.
What up, Kimberly?
What up, girl?
What's happening?
The thing that I mentioned was what if winter is coming was in reference to the ash that it was falling because of the burnt city. You know what I mean? What if that was
fair enough.
Part of the whole prophecy?
Right.
Because that was rough, and then he finds Cersei and Jaime in the rubble.
We thought for a moment that they might be alive.
Because we said, if you don't see them die, they're not dead. That has been my sole,
but you
my
only had to
sole
remove
hope.
You only had to remove a couple of bricks.
And you're just like, oh, he's right there.
Oh, yeah.
But even the gold hand was out there, and he's like, oh gosh, maybe it's just the hand. Nah, it's all of them. Yeah. All dead. I did not, you know what, that was an unsatisfying death for me. For Cersei to die in that way.
You felt like she deserved
but also in a way
suffering?
In a way it is a poetic thing that it's those who are on top rarely see their comeuppance. those who come from wealth and privilege rarely see the full extent of the...
She saw it. She got a chance to suffer. She knew as soon
She suffered,
like, oh,
but
boy.
look how... Not comparatively.
Oh, boy.
Comparatively to the suffering that she caused...
2 seasons ago, they marched her through the streets, and she was publicly ridiculed, hair cut,
Oh,
naked
no.
through the streets.
Oh, she got a little dirty and had some bad people throw some bad words at her.
And lettuce.
Oh, gee. Oh, no. Rotten fruit. Boy, oh, boy. You know what she did? Blew up a fucking Santa down. With dragon fire.
Uh-huh. But she's a person, too. Man.
Oh,
She very much loved
barely.
her brother.
Cousin fucker.
Hey.
Actually, she gives
Yikes.
cousin. There's a bad name.
Right? Oh, my
Sibling sucker. Gross alliteration.
I like it.
So, and then what do we see? We see, just Her Highness, also high and mighty, just feeling also good about herself, now just burning all these women and children.
She lost it, bro. She lost it.
You mad
gone.
queen?
She was gone.
You mad damn queen?
Are people more upset because they took, like, everybody
She
wanted a
did
perfect bow. Everyone wanted a perfect bow, but it's like, you really need more time to do each one. You can't do them all. I mean, there's only so much time.
I want to say...
I feel like it was rushed.
I don't think it was rushed.
You got coffee cup in one scene. Last night's episode had a water bottle in it. That's sloppy. Am I right? For a show that did not have any slop up until this season. It was sloppy.
I don't know.
And let's just...
Maybe it's not sloppy so much as like, we could fix that, but do we want to at this point? Like, does it matter? Is it going to hurt viewership? Like, is it going to affect anything really? Like, assess the actual risk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Assess the actual risk to anyone's job, to anything at all, on the 8th final season of the show.
Yeah.
For a coffee cup to make it into a shop. No risk. None whatsoever.
Again, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, I know.
I like the ending.
I'm playing devil's advocate to your devil's advocate.
Well, don't make me bring out devil's advocate to number 3.
Really?
To play devil's advocate.
I would bring out my lawyer.
Oh.
Who trumps
Dang it!
all advocates
All of them
who are demonic in nature.
We can't talk. We're
all advocates who are demonic in nature.
We're not speaking.
Now, when you say she killed all the babies, Kimberly, do you mean she killed all the babies, or are you just trying to be political because of the climate right now? You know what I mean? Like, what was there something mentioned about like she actually killed babies, or was it like you're talking about just the fire? Because the fire killed babies for sure.
Well, no, she was about to go on. She was going to continue on,
right? And like kill like
anything that got in her way,
for sure.
And John's like, what? There were women and children there. Like,
we knew somebody was going to take her out. We knew somebody was going to take her out. I thought Arya was going to, and that was probably on Arya's mind, right?
Yeah. No, I knew it was going to be John. It had to be John. We talked
well,
about
that
it.
point,
Had to be John.
At that point, yeah.
Had to be John.
It had to be John.
Because John has done nothing but walk the line. He never made a decision bad or good either way. It's just like, okay, well, I'll just
hold on. He's been good the whole time.
He has, but
he's been good the whole time.
Sometimes there are necessary evils, and he refused to make those choices.
Yeah. Seriously killed the babies.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, we're talking about the disparity, the ratio disparity. Again, like the suffering that she incurred on people, Cersei, she did not get returned to her.
Correct.
By any means. So, and that's why I'm saying her death was not satisfactory. But it was
quick in the arms of someone she cared about.
From a narrative sense, she did die quickly in the arms of somebody she cared about with little to no suffering comparatively to the suffering she caused. Which I think is a poetic and very good narrative point of like, you come from privilege, you die in privilege, and
power.
You generally don't see the ramifications of your being an asshole. Like, I'm okay with that plot point because of that. As a viewer, I'm like, that sucks, but it also, you understand it.
What would have made fans happy? Like, have her arms, like,
I think Sansa killing Cersei would have been the most satisfying way for Cersei to go.
Okay. She should have been pushed out a window.
VIP Aaron Phillips says she should have been pushed out a window for irony's sake to parallel what happened to Bran. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's too quick for I want somebody to be staring her in the eyes.
Oh right.
Like I want Sansa in front of her.
He could have projected that image. Bran could have projected that image. He could have projected any death he wants.
Bran could have done a whole lot that he didn't do.
Let's just go from there.
What, you with a chair? Let's just talk about. Motherfucker could probably still walk. Let's just.
Yeah, you just get pushed around.
Come on, what?
Which makes him a good ruler, apparently.
I guess. Yeah. He knows. Why did I come all this way? Of course you knew. Yeah. Why do you think I've come all this way? Oh gosh. Shit. To be king, of course.
Yes.
Bran. What
a journey that would be in a wheelchair.
What a journey that would be. Was it too on the nose and too jokey for Sam to suggest a democracy?
Oh, it was meant to be.
Was it too...
This is not that show. So when that was thrown in there, that very hey...
Bran could have Jedi Force pushed her.
And then everyone laughed.
Yeah.
It felt very forced.
It was. Yeah. It was... heavy-handed.
Yes.
I would say.
Why?
Heavy-handed is a good way to put things now, Sean, that isn't going to... because everyone's idea of heavy-handed is different. Uh-huh. So somebody could put a little teaspoon of mayo on your sandwich. And
Thank you very much.
And for somebody, that could be heavy-handed.
Yes.
They were a little heavy-handed on the mayo today.
Because I'm allergic to mayo.
And he is too much. So, for example, my wife and I were talking about Endgame. Let's jump back to Endgame. The scene that was the woman power scene. There was a scene, there was a shot, there was all the women assemble, essentially. Mm-hmm. Yep. I liked it. I loved the shot. I thought it was very beautiful. Though it was beautiful and I got what it was saying.
Really heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago or maybe even 2 years ago.
Okay.
That it would be kind of more of a rallying cry, but I feel like we're doing it. We're making them.
We're already there.
It's almost playing catch up at this point. Is the way I feel about it. But you know what? I don't want to do.
I don't think it's catch up. I think it's just pouring on. They did it in the last 2 movies like that. The 2 Avengers film with the ladies.
But you got to understand the production of this. Mm-hmm. How these productions are going on over the course of years. It's not like they're going to anticipate the climate in which they're releasing.
No, of course
not.
So
they're only basing things off of the climate in which they're producing.
Right.
So, to me, it feels late. It feels heavy-handed.
Okay.
It wouldn't feel heavy-handed a year or two ago, is what I'm saying.
So Infinity War did it, where they were fighting in the field, and
was she as blatant?
Yeah, but it was very empowering, that whole feeling of, because she's, Scarlett Johansson, the girl that, I think they're fighting a girl, by the way, and she's like, now see, you're going to die alone. And then the girl behind her, all of her partners behind her said, she's not alone.
Right.
And then it's 3-on-1, where they're fighting them, which we're not quite sure if she's female, right? The one they were fighting?
The bad guy?
Yeah. She had the horns and the... Yeah, okay.
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know. But, I could see that as something true, yeah, but it wasn't as very blatant as that scene was in Endgame. You know what I mean?
When they recorded Endgame and that scene, Captain Marvel hadn't been even released in the theater yet. So it probably was a couple years ago. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. That's why it's easy to say, those kind of things are heavy-handed now, even though in the production, that's why Aaron...
Thanks, Aaron.
VIP! What up, Ray? Ray Rodriguez.
What's going on, Ray? Can I call you Ray Ray? Ray in the house.
Yeah, so I think that I liked Endgame. I liked the ending. I like, Tony ended up...
Oh, Thanos got his comeuppance.
Thanos got his comeuppance. The Thanos getting his head cut off in the beginning was very interesting to me.
Yeah.
I
love that. You're like, oh, well, he's dead now.
Yeah, right? But then the whole, him being an opportunist and taking advantage that he's like, oh, well, I'm going after all these Infinity Stones. They just so happen to be all together in one place.
You can bring it to me?
5 years from now?
I'm in.
I'll be right back.
I got you. Let me get my helmet.
And it's in a fancy new glove.
Let me get my helmet.
Look at that. Hulk size even.
Oh, my
Wonderful.
goodness.
You think Tony Stark's technology would be not morphing to his hand for some reason?
Sure.
Come on, nanobots. Get on board.
Don't they act independent? How does he control them?
I don't know. man. I don't know. Good.
Did you see in the end scene, like after freaking Doctor Strange apparently can bring time warp an entire...
Well, it was Doctor Strange and like all of the, whoever does his mystic art stuff too.
Right.
They all just opening up those doors. That was awesome.
That's pretty sick. Seen all,
dude, like
did
that.
Did you see one of the guys that came in was Howard the Duck?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
No. I'm sure there's so many Easter eggs in that big old thing.
Hundreds.
Just like it made me think of the oh shoot, what's the video game movie that just came out that's like all the 80s and stuff?
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. It made me think of that scene, that like last battle scene.
I've seen it 3 times and I still
that's a great those finding Easter eggs. Giant battles that are able to be done now because of CGI. Like
satisfying.
I have dreamed of these like ever since I've seen like you open a centerfold of a comic book and it's like all of like all of the Marvel universe against all of the bad guys of the Marvel universe. It's like and it's like your dream come true from like as a kid. And like you're like there's Ant-Man in the background, he's all huge, and there's like everybody, oh my god, and they're all just like going at it. It's freaking great.
Did Ant-Man punch a Leviathan?
Like, he did!
Boom! That was so tight. So tight.
That was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. It was a very I loved it. I thought it was great, man. Great film.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Let's talk about endings personally.
Yes.
It's good to end things, and it's better to end them well.
We're not ending this show.
No, not right now.
Okay.
But like I wanted to quit baseball as soon as we started.
Coaching, you mean?
Coaching.
Right.
My son is doing Little League. I wanted to quit literally immediately. Mm-hmm. I felt so much anxiety about it. Like, oh my gosh. I remember talking to you about it and I was just like losing my mind.
And we're fans of quitting things.
Big fans.
Big fans.
Why do
Nothing
anything
wrong with quitting something if it doesn't
bring you joy,
progress your life,
if it's not lining up your passions with your vocation or lining up what you want to do with your life,
quit.
Leave it alone.
Let it go.
So Little League Baseball, none of that for me.
Right. I'm not going to get into
I don't care. But they needed a coach, so I could have
stuck with it for other reasons.
I stuck with it mainly because my wife, my biggest cheerleader in my life, was like, "You will regret it if you quit. You will enjoy it if you stick it out, and you'll be glad that you finished." And I'm like, at this point, we have 2 games left. It's been almost 3 months now we've been playing baseball.
Yeah.
I can't say that I want to do it again.
Okay. That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I am glad that I stuck it out.
Okay.
And I'm glad that I am ending what I would consider ending well in doing this. I did my best. I made mistakes along the way. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important to recognize what it looks like to end well and like not. Some people revel in like a bad ending.
Okay.
In things like quitting in a bad way. Like, or, it's one thing if there's like some justice involved, if somebody's an asshole to you and you're like, they're like, I need you to, and you're like, you know what? Fuck you, I'm out. I quit. Bye.
Like Jerry Maguire.
Sure. That's fine.
I'm talking about what y'all think of me.
No, I'm thinking more
that would
like
be satisfying.
Let's talk about like what are the bad endings that we normally do in life that people kind of generally accept. Like, just stop showing up to things.
That people accept?
Generally accept, right? Like if somebody just stops showing up to something, rarely are people gonna call them on it.
Okay.
Sometimes they might be like, "Oh hey, like missed you," or whatever.
Right.
But like it's not.
Okay.
So I mean,
what about the general acceptance of a show? Apropos to
what do you mean?
GOT, like everyone they won't let it rest. Do you know what I mean? Like that whole. I can let it rest. I don't have.
I see.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
there's apparently a campaign online going right now for somebody to remake season 8, and I'm just like, really, guys?
That's like looking at the Mona Lisa and going.
This made me think this.
We need to do this again.
This is what made me think this. Check this out. This has not the people who are doing this. Mm-hmm. This is my opinion.
Okay.
The people who are doing this do not care nearly as much as all the people who are funding them, who are giving the money to these GoFundMes or whatever
Okay.
to make a new Game of Thrones season or a new ending or whatever.
Well,
like,
everybody needs a sounding board. Like everyone.
no,
needs
listen. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that the people who are deciding to start this GoFundMe
Okay.
don't care as much as the people who are funding it. And
Oh,
the reason
sure,
why
sure,
I'm saying
sure,
that is
sure,
because it immediately came out the day of or day after or the morning after the season series finale. So somebody was like, people are not going to be happy about this. No matter what, even if it's a minority, there's going to be a lot of people who watch this show who are not going to be happy about it and who are willing to pay $5 to see something else. I'm a filmmaker. I don't know what I want to make. I'll tell you what, though. I've got a great, all of the information is already there. I can easily parody this or make something different or just do what people want.
Send them some money.
So I'll tell you what.
Send them some
Give
money.
me some money. I can just make that happen.
Right.
So then they come out and they're like, aren't you pissed about the Game of Thrones ending?
That makes sense.
Wouldn't you like it different? And then all these people. So I'll tell you what. The next TV show that announces, that's a big TV show, that announces, oh, here's the series finale. This is going to be the last season. Start your GoFundMe plans right then and there.
Okay.
For the make a new episode
For
or
the
make
group
a
of
new
people
season
that won't be
for
happy.
the minority.
There's always going
to be thousands.
Always
of them.
going to be one.
Just the sheer volume of viewership that these TV shows have. There's going to be thousands of them.
And this being the biggest one of all.
Of course.
Almost all of them.
Right?
For a decade.
Somebody should have done it with Avengers. Somebody should have been like, not happy with Avengers Endgame? Give me money. We'll make a new
Screw
one.
that, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Hells yeah. I guarantee you that will get funding.
Sure.
To me, this is a terrible way to go about making film because it's not creative. It's just opportunist.
Right.
Right? It's not
You're affecting
art.
someone's art.
It's business.
Right.
You know?
Which is why you said Marvel did a really good job of listening to the fans. So
listening.
Now now the fans are creating the art?
No. I don't think of it that way. Hi, Terry Man. I don't think of it that way. I don't think of Marvel as creating the art.
What are the best, worst endings to other shows and movies?
Lost, I think, is obviously the worst ending. One of the worst.
That was really just...
no questions answered. No time.
It was delusional. It was kind of
I don't even want anything to be tied up in a bow, necessarily.
No, it doesn't have to be.
But I would like
what do you mean tied up in a bow?
Satisfaction.
The through line has to be...
If the island was in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle and it was a dimensional portal between worlds, and the government is there as part of the Dharma Initiative, playing puppeteer and utilizing the energy that somehow got away, that created the smoke monster, that created a portal to Alaska, that brought the polar bear there, that caused the airplane to fall, that then...
Go.
Then...
I'm sorry.
That then the government ended up murdering all of the passengers or sending them to an alternate dimension, thus creating this consciousness paradox that is then resolved at the end. Sure. But they didn't do that.
No, they did not. It was really weird.
We gotta remember at what point in the podcast was this so that we can remember to clip that out, because I feel like that was a pretty good rant. 33 minutes in. Listen.
Totally.
Yeah, Lost, I don't think did well. Does anybody remember the X-Men animated cartoon series in the 90s? I don't remember the ending on that.
No.
I don't think that was probably very good.
No.
Sopranos, people weren't happy with the Sopranos ending.
It was very just
fade to black, right?
Fade to black. He gave a look. You don't know who came through the door. Do we need to know who came through the door? I don't think we do. I was fine with the ending. I don't know what people need. What do you need?
So, I'm writing I wrote this script, right? And the ending, my buddy read it, and he said the ending, he didn't like it because it made him feel bad. And I was like, well...
What's wrong with that?
He's like, because it made you feel like, well, you don't know if it ended well or not. And I'm like...
I don't need good or... I don't need indifferent is what I don't need.
Yeah, you want somebody to make a choice,
right.
But I like the idea of open-ended endings because you like people to be able to imagine beyond it. I don't like
Inception.
I don't like I don't like happily ever after.
Was he in a dream? Was he not in a dream?
I don't like happily ever after endings.
The Mist was fairly bleak.
Sure, and Stephen King notoriously has come out and said that he liked that ending.
He liked it.
Right? Bleak endings I don't mind because they are making a choice, and I think as long as those choices make sense.
I like a bleak ending.
Like,
that's my overall sardonic nature.
If a choice can be explained, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
If it's inexplicable, I don't want to do with it.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I don't like things just to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? I like for things to be explained. I don't.
It's a cop out. Like Lost was a cop out.
It was.
It really was.
Well, they've even said they didn't know where it was going while they were writing it. Like they had an idea, but it's like it wasn't fully thought out. And
I'd have been better if they woke up in a dream though. Like they just one person wakes up and it's just
super unsatisfying.
Yeah. What can you do? What can you do?
Would it like by
somebody
the time,
wakes up on the plane, goes,
the thing
holy
is,
shit,
yeah,
we're landing, and then they just land, and then they go to their destination.
You are everybody. You are everybody. Fucking drive shaft, bro.
Endings. I hope that I end my life in that. No. When I end my life.
When you end your life?
We'll podcast it, don't worry.
Okay, well, as long as we get the views. When your life ends.
When my life ends.
Having nothing to do with anything you're going to do.
I hope not.
Of course.
I mean, I may be skydiving or something, that's
sure
for whatever,
Cocaine.
How would you like life to end? I mean, do you want your family?
Oh my gosh.
How do you? People don't talk about this. We don't talk about death. Nobody wants to talk about it. I mean, you obviously want people there. It'd be sad to go
about
alone.
death. Let's talk about dying.
Okay.
Millennials tend to be obsessed with dying.
Okay.
That's what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I think that I have a lot of theories as to like why generations feel or think different ways. One of those theories is like millennials think a lot about death and whatnot because they are just entering life, right? Or what that has been deemed for them life. Right? They've been deemed, hey, after high school, after college, it's life now. So,
but we've all
you're gifted. Now, hold on a second. You have to understand who you're being raised by. Mm-hmm. Okay, millennials were being raised by people whom were raised by who.
Wolves.
Right, exactly. But what I'm saying is like these philosophies have all boiled down to them having this idea of once they hit the job market, mm-hmm. their life is going to be great. Because they're going to get a job. They went to college, they finished high school, they got high grades, and they did everything that they should. And now they're in the job market, and guess what? Only can get a job at Starbucks.
That has nothing to do with your raising. It has everything to do with society.
Of course. But what I'm saying is the reason why they're probably obsessed with death, or at least a reason why, mm-hmm. one of the reasons, is because they've now entered life and realized that it has nothing to do with what they've been told it is. They've been told, like, you do this, you do this, you do this, and then there's life, and it's great, and you have this, and you have a job, and you have a career, and you blah, 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 blah. But that's not what people are experiencing. Because it's like, what? This is not life that I signed up for. This is not life that people told me about while I was growing up. This life is way fucking different than the life that people have shown me before.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not. You just got them saying that it's the people who raised you that told you what life is.
And the
so
society.
If they told you what life is,
and society
then
around
your parents
you.
are liars.
So hold on. No, it is for a fact that the job market is considerably smaller, especially in areas where in the past 20 to 30 years, people have been told where the market's going to go and where jobs are going to be.
It's a little more predictable.
There are shrinking markets, there are growing markets, and people were not able to anticipate the way that they thought they were, regardless of what the information said or whatever. What I'm saying is, we were told one thing. We were for generations, people were told, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, and you're happily forever. Mm-hmm. That is not happening now. And I'm saying that millennials are experiencing that and going, what the fuck? That's what's happening. Mm-hmm. And I think that's understandable. It's like, we're getting into life. Here comes life. Oh shit, this is life? Mm-hmm. Why do I want this? So I tend to think that that's probably a reason why people are a little obsessed with death and dying and like
that makes sense.
The end of this.
It's grim
because it's hard to find. Because when you've been, I think the other thing too is that our society, I've been saying for a long time, is built on material things, right? Like built on like satisfaction from external things, Whereas our satisfaction...
We're a nation of consumers, though.
Absolutely. The more you buy, the better you feel,
hey,
right?
Your life's going to be great.
The thing is, too, like, we're a very religious society, too. Like, the more you pray, the better you feel, because something from outside has to come in. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, dude, there's so many people that should find self-satisfaction from within themselves. And I'm not saying that they can't get self-satisfaction from praying and religion and God and all that, too. I'm just saying that, like, it can't all come from one place. It can't all come from your job. It can't all come from your church. It can't all come from your friends. It can't all come from your spouse. Mm-hmm. At some point, the inside of you has to be this spring of eternal, everlasting life, for lack of better words.
And a lot of times you don't find
within
that until
yourself.
You enter into life, until you start trying to figure out who you are.
Because we don't teach how to find that.
Right.
We don't teach our kids that they need to be happy with themselves, that they should be empathetic to themselves, and that they should be compassionate to themselves and to others. We don't teach that, you know what I mean? Like, there should be curriculums in classes and courses that teach this shit. The problem is, most of our teachers don't understand it. Most parents don't understand it. Most people don't understand it.
I also feel like this generation of parents are maturing much slower. Mm-hmm. Like, we're all stuck in this, I gotta find my dream still and still feel special, and don't get me started on the baby boomers who are sucking everything up to fulfill their own life, and they forget about teaching their children what is wrong and what is right.
Now, the thing is, I think that there is a line to be drawn, of course, because in a certain circumstance, right? Yes, in a certain circumstance, you know, certain parents did not have the information or access to the information that we have,
of course,
now. Like, that for sure is just what... So, like, all parents, you know, up to a certain point, they're just doing their best with what they have.
Of course.
You know, so that's all we can say about that. You know, like, that's all we can do.
That has nothing to do with discerning what is the right path for your children. Having the information helps, but, you know...
What do you mean discerning the right path for your children?
You still have to make a decision on what's wrong or right for your kids.
In what way?
What do you mean in what way?
Like,
everything.
Because it sounds like you're talking about, like, controlling their path.
Not controlling it, but give them the information that they need so that they can go out in the world and do what's best for them.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And their relationships and their families.
That's the biggest fear, right? Is like trying to create these independent...
Ooh, that's a great word.
So we're talking
how do you we raise adults.
So we're talking about now, we're kind of moving on to the ending of, you know, the end of childhood, right? The end of, when does adulthood begin, right? Because if you want to talk about endings, we want to talk about ending, like dying or retiring or all that kind of stuff. Like, that's so far off.
Right.
Like, some of us are still at the beginning, right? Like, some of us still haven't figured our stuff out. I just figured my shit out in the last few years, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's hard.
Starting over.
Yeah.
Career-wise.
Tons of people have. And you're not even halfway done with your life. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing. I think people get scared. I know I'm scared. When you were a kid, when you thought like, who's an adult? Mm-hmm. What's an adult?
Right.
I always thought the age was 35.
Oh, you're actually putting a time frame on
I always thought it was like right around that age. It's like, oh, that's an adult, you know? Because even like 18 to like 20 something or whatever, it's like, that's a young person. But like 35 is like, that person has kids.
They were young adults.
That person has, you know, a job,
a beer belly,
like a career.
Yeah.
Like they could be gray and balding, or like they could be like chubby.
Yeah, that was
a
grown up.
That was a grown up. You know what I mean? That was a real grown up, because that was like our parents' age, when you start like realizing that you're a person. Mm-hmm. You know, when you start realizing there are people around you or whatever.
Oh yeah, right. I had family members where I was like, oh, they're like into their 20s, and I'm like, I'm more mature than that guy.
Yeah. Fast forward 5 years, and somebody's like got a job and they're balding and they got glasses, and it's like, look at that, they're an adult. And I think that it's tough.
Ending childhood is important, is what you're saying. Like,
ending well, and it's like you said, that these people are maturing later in life, and I don't necessarily believe that. I think a lot of them are being coddled till later in life. Whereas teaching your children to mature is definitely different than... Like, there's a thin line between caring and coddling. You know?
Totally.
We are in the middle of a show, JR.
Come on.
JR.
Dylan.
How dare you? Dylan, tell your dad.
Tell him to get his stuff together.
So I
No, totally. The whole coddling thing, like it's a thin line. Mm-hmm. We all, I mean, I genuinely think these parents care.
Of course.
But it's like, at some point, getting back to the word, it's how do you teach independence? Mm-hmm. You can't coddle them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, obviously, that we're trying to do.
I got a look the other day. I was at the park, and my daughter, we go, because I had to pick her up first, and then I have to pick up my son. So the park's right next to the school. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the parents go over there. I can't stand being around some of these parents. Like,
of course.
They're out there, like, they're playing in dirt. They're having a good time.
Yeah.
Here's the antibacterial. I didn't even know they still made antibacterial. Like, they're doing the whole... And where are you at? Stay over here. These one kids, they had to have been, I think, 4th or 5th grade. Uh-huh. And she's like, I need you to stay in my eyesight. At 4th or... Like, these are grown kids, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking to the one parent because they were over there playing with... her kid was playing with my kid. And I said, hey, baby, are you going to go get Jace? She's like, I'll get him. She was excited. It was so powerful. I'd get her by myself. Like, she made that. So she took off to go get Jace, and I heard the mother go, oh, okay, that's what's going on? And I just let her go on her own. So yes, something could happen. But if I just constantly hover around her, she's never going to have that independence. And I think in that one little moment, she gained a little bit of, I can do this by myself.
Yeah.
And she did. She responsibly went up there, and the 2 kids walked back.
Yeah.
So...
And you saw her the whole time?
No, I couldn't. Once she got past, like, I can see her up to the sidewalk, and then once she gets in front of the school where all the other parents are, I can't see her. Am I being irresponsible? I don't believe that I am. A lot of people would say that mother was taken back that I let her go up there on her own. I could hear it in her voice. She couldn't believe that.
That's your parenting choice to make, and obviously there was no ramifications from it. So it's like whatever, no big deal.
I think it's the ramifications that keep people in fear.
The thing
why
is,
we keep
the likelihood of something to happen is small. The fear of something happening is big,
and that's what keeps them.
And that's what stops people from doing this. And that's what keeps people hovering over their kids and whatnot. If you actually consider the likelihood of things happening, then you start to realize that, okay, you can start allowing your kids to do more things. There are things that if I'm in earshot generally, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? If I can hear it, because I know I'm going to be able to hear whatever. I know what sounds are what. You know what I mean? So you ever hear like a bike falling?
Yeah.
You know what a bike falling sounds like?
Yeah.
That's my kid falling off a bike. You know what I mean? So I know what's up. I know what that sounds like.
Right.
So that's why I'll let them ride up their bikes, but I also let's keep the garage open. I'll keep the garage door open and the inside door open so I can hear.
Okay, so you would be in here.
So I'd be in here and I can.
Some people would say that's too much independence.
And they would just be riding their bike right here. We are in a fairly closed neighborhood.
And I got no problem with your parenting
So it's like, all right, that's cool right there. And I think that what happens is
you're being emailed right now by a mother going, "You're irresponsible."
How do you create independence in your kids? And I think the way you do that is by creating confidence in your kids.
Yeah.
And creating confidence in your kids has to do with letting them know that they can do things even before they can do it.
Right.
We have to do this all the time. To do this with on the kids in the baseball team.
Okay.
Which we are ranked number 1, by the way.
Going back to that, how would you feel about the ending if it was different and you guys were 0-6?
I don't know. I feel like,
would that would have added an extra strain?
Yeah, we're 13-6, by the way, 13-5 or something like that. So
when do you have games? I've been wanting to come see a game, support the kids, but you don't let me know these.
I'll
things.
let you know.
You don't let me know.
I'll let you know.
The king of communication over here. He doesn't know how to communicate.
Master communicator.
Master communicator. That's right.
That's right.
Can't communicate.
I do words good.
To his buddy. What's going on?
That's more time management. I'm good at communicating once I am communicating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right. We'll work on that.
That's like I'm a know-it-all because I don't talk about stuff I don't know about.
Right. Smart. That's just good maneuvering right there.
Darn straight.
Yeah.
So I think
a good ending doesn't necessarily. We're talking about the story of your life.
Yeah, It's tough because there's seasons, for everything, and I think ending each of those seasons is important.
Ooh, whether it be
a job,
negative or positive.
Yeah,
like either one.
Anything from something so simple as like, ending a season of what, of a
depression.
Yeah. Well, like a piece of clothing that you have been wanting to get rid of. Why haven't you gotten rid of it? Because it holds some sentimental value. Mm-hmm. And ending that, like, doing some of that Marie Kondo stuff, we've realized that feels good. That is a good release of saying, like, thank you to this garment for, everything it's done in the way that it has made me feel. And now, there it is.
Just let it go.
What I mean? No, see,
just burn it.
Don't diminish what other people need.
Bleach.
Don't diminish.
I'm just doing a bit. I'm
don't
not diminishing.
Diminish. Well, then don't poo-poo when you're doing a bit. Don't disagree. Don't create an argument. How do I do
that bit?
Are you kidding me? Agree profusely.
I agree.
Have you forgotten your basic improv rules?
No.
Yes, I have forgotten my... Yes! Yes, and! Yes, and!
Oh, man. We need to end this podcast. I got stuff to do.
I hate you so much.
Hates what I see.
So the best endings are, like, for example, when we had a bunch of viewers, we should have been like, bye.
Okay.
The best view, like,
but
that's
again,
too,
that's
right?
that's kowtowing to the.
Like, you ever see an argument
to the
outside?
audience.
You ever see an argument outside, like between a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife?
Yeah.
Where like they're like escalating.
Okay.
And like people are like crowding, like, what's happening? What's happening?
You can feel everyone.
Right. But then they just get in this cycle of like, babe, come back, babe, and then she's like, no, and then it's like, babe, come back, babe, no, and then it's just like, and then it's like, oh, okay, like this isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Well, none of it's constructive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying though is like, people start losing interest. People start like going, okay, let's go back inside.
That's a good...
Because it's not ending when it should.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, first of all, somebody needs to hit somebody, or y'all need to make up, or somebody needs to leave, or a car needs to get there, or somebody needs to jump in. Like, as a writer, I'm like, the plot points are here. The premise is strong and relatable.
Let's put an end to it. Yeah.
Let me if I could just maybe put your hand up here on his head, okay? Then just tilt back. Okay, great. Now just tell him that you've been sleeping with his brother. Go.
Do you like seeing life through the lens
of
filmmaking?
Oh, yes, I do. But I hate seeing real life drama.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Ugh. It makes me ugh. I will
disappointed.
I'll peek at like videos of people like being like, look at this fight in a McDonald's. I'm like, oh my gosh, he hit him with the thing of French fries. Like,
right.
But like everyone has a little voyeurism to them.
Sure.
But like in real life, my heart starts pounding. Like I start like feeling like, okay, am I gonna have to do something now? Like if this is gonna escalate to something,
right?
Like, I'm the biggest person here, so somebody's gonna look to me. Okay. Oh gosh.
Nick will do it. Just stand back. Take a step back. Nick will do it.
Shawn!
Yeah, bro. Handle that.
Why?
Dude, he's...
Oh my gosh!
I think he's got a knife.
I don't fight. Everything I've ever said about fighting has been a lie. Everything. Everything. I can't
do it on film.
I can't. It's film. It's fake. It's fake. It's not real.
You gotta handle that.
I can't handle a knife. He just swiped at us. He just swiped at us. I can't.
I don't know what to do.
I can't disarm somebody. You've been trained martial arts your whole life. Has that been a lie too?
Yes.
Oh my God! You've been lying this whole time.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. I don't know an ounce.
Oh my God!
I've never
that
even
looks
struck
like a
so
karate
much.
chop, though.
No, it's not.
Like, you just did it again. Just do that towards him.
Yes.
Just do that towards him.
You think it'll work?
I don't know. Maybe we would both do it.
Let's get him. Let's get him.
He sliced my fingers off! Oh no!
I gotta go.
Oh,
I gotta go.
What?
Because. Yeah. That'll buff out.
Yeah.
That'll buff out.
We want something to happen. And we want something to happen with your life.
Because, like, yeah.
I want something to happen with your life. I have a vested interest in the... What does vested interest mean? Like an actual interest in which I will receive a benefit? I don't have a vested interest. I have an interest in
There's nothing wrong.
The people around me.
There's nothing wrong with having a...
succeeding.
Right, there's nothing wrong with having satisfaction out of that, so that you could have a vested interest.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If the benefit I gain is satisfaction.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's just.
I like helping people succeed. Like if you tell somebody like, "Hey, you need help," like I'll read something that you wrote. Hell yeah, you know. Or you're like, I'll give you some feedback, or I'll talk to you about whatever.
That's interesting.
I tried talking to somebody one time, and he was like, "Oh man, I've been thinking about like doing stand up. I've been thinking about like writing, comedy or whatever." I'm like, dude, that's what I'm doing right now. Like, because it's cool finding people who are.
Notes.
Well, it's cool finding people who are interested or on like the same level as you. So it's nice to be able to get that start in a place where there's support, where there's people who are trying to do the same thing as you're doing.
Yeah. I was telling you the story. I met a guy at my gym. I rarely work out with him, just caught him in passing, and we got together and he's trying to act.
Yeah.
And we got together. He's like, "Could you help me go over some lines?" We got together for like an hour, dude. And the satisfaction I felt, he's like, "There's no one around here to do that with." And we got together and we're doing lines, and it was such a great feeling of that camaraderie between two people trying to do the same thing.
You did some lines and then you did some acting.
Oh, so
Cocaine.
We're up. Yeah, it was very cool. So yeah, there's a lot to that, and there's nothing wrong with
I am interested in the success of the people around me. I feel happy when people find the things that they're like, they're passionate about. I said a while back, I made a post about finding if you're not if you're not doing everything you can to move your passions or aligning your passions with your vocation, like what are you even doing? Understandably, that there are small steps that every single person has to take. Some like micro steps that people have to take that are going to try and move towards that. And sometimes you're going to have to take some setbacks too. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, this is taking too long.
Seems so far away.
Like you got to give yourself, what's up? Damn it.
We just call him PJ.
PJ?
Yeah, PJ.
All right.
Great guy.
What up, PJ?
Great guy.
Do you really know them?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I do not want you calling somebody PJ who does not want to be called PJ. Especially if like, this is my name. You should say my full name.
I've gotten emails before.
Joyce.
Great guy.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the idea of ending liberalism.
Definitely not that.
No. People succeeding around you.
Having
that feeling.
Yeah.
If you let's say you're with a fellow actor and you call each other, even if you're acquaintances.
Yeah.
And you somehow have this feeling that where the other person has a little success, and somehow that you don't like that person for it, or you ridicule them, or say something negatively.
I think here's the thing. I think everybody has twinges of jealousy.
It's human nature, yeah.
Of course. And for people that don't, God bless you. Like, God bless you. Bless your heart. Because...
Do I run a second? See, are you flagging me there? Are you flagging me?
Whoever thought that just a limp wristed chest grab and a little shuffle just communicates so much. Bless your heart. Everyone feels it. I think that I feel it for sure because it's like you're doing what I want to do.
Okay.
But I then have to remind myself, I'm now doing what I wanted to do years ago.
Okay.
My journey is my journey. And hell, man, everybody wants to break. Everybody's looking to get their break. Dude, I'm looking for it. Sean's looking for it. Everyone's looking for their break. But the break comes when you're working for it. You know what I mean? Like you have to, it's not just a break. It's small break, small break, small break, small break.
But some people actively try and drag other people down when they're not getting...
Those are toxic people.
Ugh.
Bye-bye.
Ugh.
Get out of my life.
You can't even call them friends.
GTFO.
Put an ending to that relationship.
Have an expectation for how people make you feel. That's what I would say.
That's fair, yeah.
I think that
that's just healthy.
If people generally make you feel good about yourself, great.
Yeah.
If people generally don't, maybe you don't hang out with those people.
Right.
Regardless of whatever pretense relationship stuff is going on. So let's really consider that relationship, familial or chosen or otherwise.
Now, sometimes you kind of have to put up with because of a certain circumstance.
Sure. Those circumstances are, generally children. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's
sure,
like
sure,
it.
sure,
Like,
sure.
really, though, because, like, think about any other relationship.
It could be a job. If you're on, let's say you're on set doing what you love, but there's that virus of a person.
Well, sure, but that also comes down to the fact that
you got to put up
until there's an end to it.
Sure.
And in which case, though, it depends on how extreme it is. If it's just somebody who's braggadocious and like obnoxious or reminds me of me, then I'm like, all right, I'll just avoid them. Then but if
this is why Nick does not have one single mirror in his house.
I don't really, actually. Just in the bathrooms. Wait, they have mirrors you can put on the walls? Hey, you mean I can see myself more? But like, stay away from them if they're like, if it's that kind of situation where it's just simply like, they're kind of grating to me. I don't really like them. The other thing though is like, obviously, if it's a dangerous situation, or if it's a situation that is where you're uncomfortable, or if it's like a sexually explicit or whatever. There's a whole slew of things where it's like, if it's work, there's plenty of stuff I could do about somebody being inappropriate or whatever.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's plenty of things I could do. If it's a work that you can't complain, like, like if you go to HR, they're just going to take the boss's side or whatever, quit. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth your safety. It's not worth your dignity. I know it's hard. Like, it's job search now. Find a job, line it up.
Let's say you get your big break, and we're talking about a series that's well written, it's well funded, people are behind it. It's going to go 10 years.
Yeah.
But there's someone on that show. You just
it's a challenge, baby.
Oh,
that's a challenge, baby.
Okay.
That's a challenge. I take a challenge, especially if I know like I'm gonna be on a team with this person.
You can't just quit.
This person and me, we're gonna be friends. I just gotta figure out how. Like if it's just like it seems like they don't seem to like me very much. I don't know what it is. Well, I'm gonna figure it out.
I don't know what it is.
And I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out how to be this person's friend.
Is that how you wore me down? Wait a minute. Now things are starting
Every single person who is my friend right now is like, wait a
starting to become
Hold on a second.
clear. Wait a minute. Wait.
Hold on a minute.
Did you just turn into a 1940s journalist?
Wait a minute there.
The press is here.
Harry.
So,
all that to say,
let's get out of here.
There are good, good endings are good, and ending well is important in all things.
You want a strong ending,
for sure.
Sometimes, have you ever
remember this though, that a strong ending is not always a victorious ending.
Does not have to be. No. When I say strong, it means satisfying in one way or the other.
An appropriate ending. I think people need to ask themselves that a lot more too, because like it's good endings are too much to ask for, folks.
Yeah.
Happily ever after is too much to ask for. I would say
it's kind of played out anyway.
Appropriate endings are best.
Yeah.
Appropriate endings are satisfactory. Anything beyond that, hey, let's rejoice.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. There's plenty of movies that I've seen where okay, this movie's not really well done. All of a sudden the ending comes and you're like, I can't remember why I didn't like that movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, the ending made sense. It was good, and that works for me. So.
Sometimes how you end things makes all the difference. Like, you can be a shitty employee and decide tomorrow that you're going to change things up. You could be a shitty boss who bullies your employees and decide tomorrow, hey, you know what? I'm going to not do that. I'm going to
talking about growth.
I'm talking about growth, my friend.
Okay.
And you know what? You know how growth happens is when you have endings with, the things in your life that shouldn't be there, or that need to be addressed, or the things that need to be, talked about.
Yes.
What up, Ray? Ray Dennison catching us on the
Ray?
end.
Just on the end there.
Alrighty.
Go back and watch the whole thing, buddy.
From Ray Dennison.
Yes, Ray.
Nicholas Nieblis.
I'm Shawn Warner.
Jonathan Warner. We are Mourning the Mourning, and we'll catch you next Monday. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some b-ball outside the school.